Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a new C-suite role that's not just tweaking jobs, it's completely overhauling how we think about work and what it means to be successful. So, let's just jump right in with a pretty provocative question. What if happiness wasn't just some fluffy, feel-good perk, but was actually the most powerful, untapped driver of your company's performance? And, its profit. I mean, let's be real. The modern workplace is facing a serious crisis. Burnout is everywhere, engagement scores are tanking, and top talent, they are heading for the door. But out of this massive challenge, a really interesting and proactive solution is starting to emerge. And that solution actually has a title, the Chief Happiness Officer, or CHO. Now, before your eyes roll back, I want to be super clear about this. This isn't about fluff. It's all about function. Think of the CHO as a high-level strategic leader. Their entire job is to take the science of what makes people thrive and literally wire it into the business operations. We're talking about real, measurable actions that boost not just morale, but the bottom line. So, how do we even begin to understand this role? Well, our guide for this explainer comes from the folks at Happywise. They've managed to distill this really complex job into a brilliant framework of 10 core principles, and that's exactly what we're going to walk through together. Okay, let's get into these principles. The first set is all about a fundamental mindset shift. It really forces us to completely rethink what happiness even means in a professional setting. And honestly, this is the foundation for everything that follows. So this foundation, it stands on three, frankly, game-changing ideas. First, that happiness is a strategy. Second, that it's a skill that can be learned. And third, that it's your ultimate competitive advantage. Let's break those down. So what on earth does happiness is a strategy actually mean? It means we stop treating well-being like this side project, this nice-to-have thing. Instead, you give it a seat at the main table. It gets integrated into the core business plan, right there with finance and operations. It's not optional, it's essential. Now, this next one, this is a huge mental shift for a lot of us. Happiness is a skill. It's not just some random emotion that comes and goes. It's a capacity that you can train, like a muscle. For instance, a CHO might roll out team-wide gratitude rituals to kick off meetings, or introduce short mindfulness breaks to help people reset. These aren't just one-off activities. They're about building a skill. Okay, so if that's the what, seeing happiness as this strategic, learnable advantage, the next question is obviously the how. How do you actually cultivate this stuff day to day? And this is where we pivot from the big picture framework to the real heart of it all, the human element. And believe me, this is where the rubber meets the road. We're talking about the deep stuff here, the quality of our connections, the power of just being before we jump into doing, the discipline it takes, the very real neuroscience of positive team chemistry, and maybe the biggest one of all, the massive role that leadership plays as an emotional regulator. And really, it all kicks off with connection. You see, at its core, a CHO's job is to be an architect for psychological safety. Why? Because quality relationships, genuine recognition, and rock-solid trust, that's not just feel-good fluff. It is the absolute bedrock of a healthy and high-performing organization. And that brings us to a really crucial, non-negotiable point. A leader's emotional state isn't just a personal thing. It's an organizational thing. It radiates out. It sets the tone for the entire system. Think of a leader as the office's emotional thermostat. A stressed-out leader creates a stressed-out team. A big part of the CHO's job is helping leaders learn to manage that thermostat. This slide just nails why discipline is so important. Look, anybody can throw a pizza party and get a temporary sugar high. But sustainable well-being, that comes from small, consistent, daily habits. It's the huge difference between a one-off event and a continuous practice. It's about building a culture, not just planning a party. Okay, so we've got the mindset down, and we're focused on the human element. But great ideas can't just float around in our heads, right? They have to be built into the very DNA of the organization. So this final batch of principles is all about how you build a complete system for well-being. And these last two principles, they point us exactly where to put our energy. First, into our data, what we're actually paying attention to and measuring. And second, into our structure. Finally recognizing that well-being isn't an individual issue. It's systemic. You know that old saying, what gets measured gets managed? Well, it is 100% true here. A good CHO isn't just guessing. They are measuring. They're tracking key data points like engagement, psychological safety, retention rates, because at the end of the day, without data, all you have are good intentions. And this is just so important. This work is not about trying to fix people. It's about fixing the broken systems they have to operate in every day. Real, lasting change has to be systemic. That means you have to get your hands dirty and dig into the company's processes, its cultural quirks, its daily rituals, and re-engineer them to actually support people. So you do all this work, you shift the mindsets, you focus on the people, you build the systems. What's the payoff? What's the ultimate prize for doing all this? The prize is creating a virtuous cycle. It's this incredible feedback loop where genuine happiness, a real sense of purpose, and outstanding performance all start feeding each other. And the companies that pull this off, they aren't just more productive. They become healthier, more resilient, and an absolute magnet for the best talent out there. That right there is the new competitive advantage. Which leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question. One for you to really think about. Take a hard look at your own workplace. Is it intentionally designed to create sustainable happiness and performance? Or is it just leaving its most valuable asset, its people, up to chance?